Welcome back to the deep dive. Ready to explore some more cutting-edge research?
Always.
Okay, so today we're diving into the world of AI, specifically how AI might soon be navigating websites just like we do.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, clicking through links, piecing together information, the whole nine yards.
Like a digital detective.
Exactly. And our guide for this deep dive is a research paper titled WebWalker, Benchmarking LLMs in Web Traversal.
I'm familiar with that one. It's a fascinating look at how these large language models, LLMs, can be used for more than just, generating text.
Right, it's not just about understanding language, it's about understanding the web itself.
Yeah, the structure, the relationships between pages, the context.
All the things we humans kind of take for granted when we browse. So I guess the first question is, why is this even a challenge for AI? I mean, search engines already exist. We use them every day. What's so different about what this research is trying to do?
Well, think about how we use search engines now. We type in keywords, get a list of links, and then have to do the heavy lifting ourselves. Sifting through pages, figuring out which ones are actually relevant.
Yeah, it's like having a map but no directions. You see all the streets, but you don't know how to get from point A to point B.
Exactly. And that's what this research is all about, building AI that can understand those directions, follow the path, and actually get to the destination, so to speak.
And the destination being the specific information we're looking for.
Right. So it's not just about finding a page that mentions a keyword. It's about understanding the context, the connections between different pieces of information. Like, let's say you're trying to find the deadline for a conference paper submission. That information might be spread across multiple pages of the conference website. You might have to go to the call for papers section, then find a link to important dates, and then scroll down to find the specific deadline.
Oh, I've been there, done that. Countless times.
Right. It's a very human process, but not one that traditional search engines are very good at. They excel at that kind of horizontal search, finding pages that match keywords, but they struggle with that vertical search, that deeper exploration within a specific website.
And that's where WebWalker comes in.
Exactly. This paper introduces a new benchmark called WebWalker QA to test how well these LLMs can actually navigate a website.
Okay, so like an obstacle course for AI. What does that look like? What kind of challenges does WebWalker QA present?
Well, it consists of 680 challenging questions spread across 1,373 web pages, so it's pretty extensive.
Wow, that's a lot of data.
Yeah, and it covers 4 real-world domains: conferences, organizations, education, and games.
Interesting mix.
Yeah, and the questions are actually categorized by difficulty. Some require information from multiple pages, buried deep within a site. So it's really testing the AI's ability to think like a human user, to follow the breadcrumbs and piece together the answer.
And to make things even more challenging, it's bilingual, both English and Chinese.
That's right. So it's a very robust benchmark, really pushing the boundaries of what's currently possible with AI in terms of web traversal.
So we've got the challenge laid out. Now let's talk about the solution. How does this WebWalker framework actually attempt to solve this problem? What's their approach?
Well, they take a very human-inspired approach, using a multi-agent system. It's kind of like a team of AI working together.
A team. I like that analogy. Tell me more.
Okay, so you have the Explorer agent.
Uh-huh.
This one is in charge of clicking through the website, following links, basically behaving like a human user would, exploring the site.
So like the scout, the one who ventures out into the unknown.
Precisely. And then you have the critic agent. This one is more analytical. It acts like the memory of the system, keeping track of all the information that the explorer finds.
Okay, so it's like the detective back at headquarters analyzing the clues, right?
Exactly. The critic agent evaluates the relevance of the information and ultimately decides whether they have enough to answer the initial question.
So it's like a checks and balances system.
Yeah, and together they form this dynamic duo that can navigate websites with a level of depth and understanding that we haven't really seen before.
I'm curious, when you say agent, are we talking about some completely new type of AI? Or are they building upon existing technology?
That's a great question. WebWalker isn't about creating a brand new LLM from scratch. It's more of a framework that utilizes existing powerful LLMs. In fact, they tested it using various models, including both the big closed source ones like GPT-4 and some open source models, to see how they perform.
So it's like taking the raw processing power of these LLMs and giving them a set of instructions, a strategy
Yeah.
for tackling this specific challenge of website navigation. Fascinating. So what were the results? How did this tag team approach fare on the WebWalker QA obstacle course?
Well, the results are definitely encouraging. WebWalker outperformed all the other methods they tested, which really highlights the power of this multi-agent, deep exploration approach.
So it's a step in the right direction.
Definitely. But, and there's always a but in research, even the best model they tested, using GPT-4 as its backbone, only reached about 40% accuracy on the WebWalker QA benchmark.
40%. That's a passing grade in some classes, but maybe not when we're talking about AI navigating the web.
Right.
So what's the takeaway here? Is this a sign that we're still miles away from AI that can truly understand and interact with websites like humans do?
Well, I wouldn't say that. This research isn't about creating a finished product. It's about exploring a new direction and demonstrating the potential of this combined approach. Remember, websites are complex, dynamic environments, and teaching AI to navigate them effectively is a huge undertaking.
So 40% accuracy, while not perfect, shows there's real promise here. It's like the AI took a big leap forward, even if it hasn't quite stuck the landing yet. But this also begs the question, why is this task so difficult for AI? What are the specific challenges that are keeping that accuracy from being higher?
You hit the nail on the head. One of the biggest hurdles is that websites are constantly evolving. Unlike a static document, a website can change its layout, add new pages, even modify its content in real time. That makes it hard for AI to rely on a fixed set of rules or patterns.
So it's like trying to navigate a maze where the walls keep shifting. And I imagine the sheer variety of websites adds another layer of complexity. You've got everything from simple blogs to massive e-commerce sites, each with their own unique structure and design.
Exactly. And let's not forget about the messy, unpredictable nature of human language. Websites are full of slang, idioms, and subtle nuances. That can trip up even the most advanced AI.
It's a good reminder that even the seemingly simple act of browsing a website involves a lot of complex cognitive processes that we humans take for granted. So with all these challenges, what are the researchers doing to push that 40% accuracy closer to, well, 100%? What are the next steps in this field of research?
One promising avenue is to incorporate more visual understanding into the AI. Currently, WebWalker primarily relies on the textual content of websites, the HTML code. But we humans use visual cues all the time when browsing. We notice images, we pay attention to the layout, we even instinctively know that a big, colorful button is probably more important than a tiny hyperlink tucked away in the corner.
It's like the difference between reading a book and watching a movie. The visual element adds so much depth and context. I can definitely see how that would be crucial for AI to truly understand a website.
Absolutely. There's a whole field of research dedicated to computer vision, and integrating that with WebWalker's approach could be a game changer. Imagine an AI that can not only read the text on a website, but also understand the images, recognize different elements like menus and buttons, and even interpret the overall design aesthetic.
That's mind-blowing. It's almost like giving the AI a set of eyes, allowing it to see the web as we do. And I guess this is where the potential applications really start to open up.
You got it. We're talking about AI that can do so much more than just answer questions. Think about tasks that currently require humans to spend hours clicking through websites and manually extracting information.
You mean like competitor analysis, market research, all those jobs where people are essentially doing what WebWalker is trying to do,
Yeah.
but much more slowly and less efficiently.
Precisely. Now imagine an AI that can automate those tasks, not only navigating complex websites, but also understanding the visual context, extracting the relevant data, and even summarizing it into reports. It could revolutionize entire industries.
That's a powerful thought. It's like the next level of automation, where AI isn't just replacing manual labor, but actually augmenting human intelligence, allowing us to tackle more complex and creative tasks.
And if you take this even further, we can imagine AI that not only understands websites, but can actually interact with them on our behalf.
So like a supercharged virtual assistant that can book appointments, make purchases, even handle complex customer service interactions, all while seamlessly navigating the web.
Exactly. It would be like having a digital concierge. That takes care of all those tedious online tasks, freeing up our time and mental energy for more important things.
I'm already starting to feel a bit lazy just thinking about it. But seriously, this technology has the potential to change our relationship with the web in a fundamental way.
I completely agree. We're moving from a paradigm of active searching to one of passive receiving, where AI anticipates our needs and seamlessly fulfills them within the digital realm. Of course, as with any powerful technology, there are important ethical considerations to address.
That's a crucial point. It's easy to get swept up in the excitement of the potential. But we need to be mindful of the potential downsides as well. For example, if AI becomes so good at navigating the web and understanding our preferences, what does that mean for privacy? Could it be used to manipulate us or exploit our vulnerabilities?
Those are all valid concerns. We need to ensure that as this technology develops, it's done so responsibly and with appropriate safeguards in place. Transparency, accountability, and user control are all essential elements of ethical AI development.
It's a reminder that even the most amazing technology is only as good as the intentions behind it. We need to be having these conversations now, as the technology is being developed, to ensure that it's used for good, not for harm.
Absolutely. And it's not just about preventing negative outcomes. It's about actively shaping this technology to enhance human well-being, to empower us, not control us.
Well said. This has been a fascinating exploration so far. We've gone from the technical details of how AI can walk the web to the broader implications
Yeah.
for our digital future. But before we get too carried away with speculation, let's bring it back to the research itself. The paper also mentions a concept called retrieval augmented generation, or A-BAY, which sounds very sci-fi. Can you break that down for us?
It might sound complicated, but it's actually quite straightforward. Imagine giving the AI access to a vast library of information, like a digital encyclopedia, or a massive collection of documents. That's essentially what RA does. It combines the power of large language models with traditional information retrieval systems, allowing the AI to access and process external information.
So instead of just relying on its own internal knowledge, the AI can tap into a much wider pool of information, making it even more knowledgeable and capable.
Exactly. And what's interesting is that the researchers found that even powerful RAG systems, including ones used in commercial search engines, struggled with the WebWalker QA benchmark. They just weren't designed for that deep vertical exploration that WebWalker specializes in.
So it's like two different approaches to finding information, each with its own strengths and limitations.
Yeah.
The RA system is like a wide net fisherman casting a broad net to gather as much information as possible, while WebWalker is more like a deep sea diver, going after specific targets in hard-to-reach places.
That's a great analogy. And what's really fascinating is that the researchers experimented with combining these two approaches, and the results were quite impressive.
So they basically teamed up the wide net fisherman
Yeah.
with the deep sea diver, creating a dynamic duo of information retrieval.
Exactly. By giving the RAG system access to the information that WebWalker unearthed. During its deep exploration, the overall accuracy on the benchmark significantly improved, especially for those complex, multi-source questions. It's like giving the RAG system a guide, someone who knows exactly where to look for the most relevant information.
So it's like each system compensates for the other's weaknesses. That's a really clever approach.
Yeah.
You know, as we're talking about all this, I'm realizing that the examples in the paper, like finding a conference deadline or navigating an organization's website, they seem pretty specific, but the underlying technology feels much broader in its application.
You're spot on. What's truly groundbreaking here is the core concept behind WebWalker, an AI that can navigate websites like a human, understanding the structure, the context, the nuances. This has implications far beyond just answering specific questions.
It's like they've unlocked a fundamental capability, and now it's just a matter of applying it to different tasks.
Huh?
What are some other areas where you see this technology having a major impact?
One area that immediately comes to mind is data collection and analysis. Think about all the fields where humans currently spend countless hours gathering information from websites. Market research, competitive analysis, financial modeling, even things like legal discovery or due diligence for investments.
It's like all those jobs where someone has to go down a rabbit hole of websites, pulling bits of information from here and there, and then trying to make sense of it all.
Exactly. Those tasks are often tedious, time-consuming, and prone to human error. But imagine an AI that can automate that entire process, navigating complex websites, extracting the relevant data points, even summarizing it into reports. It could significantly increase efficiency and accuracy in those fields.
It would free up human experts to focus on the higher-level analysis and decision-making, rather than getting bogged down in the data gathering. Now, as we've been talking about the potential of this technology, I would keep coming back to one question. Is there a point where AI becomes too good at navigating the web? Like, is there a risk of it becoming so sophisticated that it surpasses human capabilities, or even starts operating in ways that we don't fully understand?
That's a question a lot of people are grappling with, and for good reason. The idea of AI that can learn, adapt, and operate autonomously in complex environments like the web is both exciting and unsettling. It's crucial to remember that AI is a tool, and like any tool, it can be used for good or for ill. It all comes down to how we design, develop, and deploy it.
So it's less about the technology itself and more about the human choices that guide its development and application.
Precisely. We need to be proactive in setting ethical guidelines, ensuring transparency and accountability, and building in safeguards to prevent unintended consequences. This research on WebWalker is a great example of why these conversations are so important. It's giving us a glimpse into what's possible, and it's prompting us to think critically about how we want this technology to shape our future.
And as we're talking about all of this, I'm realizing that there's a bit of irony here. We're using this deep dive to explore a technology that might someday make deep dives like this obsolete.
There is a certain poetic symmetry to that, but I believe there will always be a role for human curiosity, critical thinking, and the joy of discovery.
Well said. Even with the most advanced AI, we humans will always be the ones asking the questions, setting the goals, and ultimately deciding how we want to use these powerful tools. So for now, let's keep diving deep, keep exploring, and keep asking those big questions.
I'm with you on that. The future of the web and our relationship with it is constantly evolving, and who knows what amazing discoveries await us just around the corner.
This has been a fascinating exploration of the cutting edge of AI research. A huge thank you to our listeners for joining us on this deep dive. Remember, you can find links to the research paper and other resources in the episode description.
And until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep exploring the boundless world of knowledge.
That's a wrap for the deep dive. See you next time.